children learn by doing. So when we create the opportunity for them to be self-expressive, children are able to meet that profile of a South Carolina graduate.
Welcome to the Please Raise Your Virtual Hand podcast. We are so delighted to dive into the exciting, challenging, and sometimes messy world of virtual learning, where nothing is impossible and redefining student success is possible. Low Country Education Consortium aims to open up new possibilities for parents, students, and our business and industry partners as we fundamentally transform learning for students. We will hold your virtual hand throughout this series, where we will discuss the world of virtual learning and how we are preparing our students for college, careers, and jobs that haven't been created yet. Virtual learning may be new to you, but it's here to stay. So, let's get started. Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of Please Raise Your Virtual Hand. We're your hosts, Amy McKenzie
and Matt Novielli.
Today, we will be speaking with Dr. Vallerie Cave, the Superintendent of Colleton County School District, where the mission is to prepare every student to graduate with a 21st century education to be globally competitive for their chosen college and/or career path. Dr. Cave, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come speak with us today.
Thank you so very much for having me. I'm excited to share with you all of the wonderful things we're doing here in Colleton County School District.
And we're so excited to hear all about it. I would really love to start our conversation by taking a closer look at the mission statement for CCSD. You are trying to prepare students by giving them a 21st century education. Could you elaborate on what a 21st century education is?
Sure, I can. Thank you for that question. For us in Colleton County School District, a 21st century education is one that responds currently to the economical, the technological, and the societal shifts that are currently happening in this ever-pacing and ever-increasing society that we're living in. It provides an education that sets children up to succeed in a world where more than half of the jobs that we have currently are careers in 21st education. So that it's giving our children a set of skills that they need to succeed in a new world. This is an ever-changing world, and our children have to have a set of skills that allows them to be confident, to be able to practice those skills. So it's information ready, it's focused on being an ever-ready society and making sure that they are able to change quickly, navigate information, be problem solvers, to be ready for a competitive workplace, and just to promote and foster and create innovation, regardless of their where they come from and regardless of how they have been educated. So we want to be able to prepare them for every kind of job that's being created out there in the world today.
And we think that is so important. That's actually even part of our description of our podcast, is that we are preparing students for the new world when they're going to step out into it. Education has to be constantly changing to keep up with our society.
It certainly does. It has to allow them to be problem solvers, and it really has to allow them to build their character so that they're confident, so that they can take on this world with a set of skills that they can get a job. I want my children to be able to be entrepreneurs. They can be enlisted in the armed services if they so desire. They can be employed with industry certifications, and then that they can be enrolled in college or a technical school. So we're creating a workforce for this ever-changing world.
And I love it. I love that you are referred to them as my children, because that's exactly what it is in the education world, right? We are one big family together, and you are giving them those tools to succeed and build those relationships with them to make sure that they have the skills that they need for these jobs that may not even be around yet.
Right. I take ownership of every single child in the school district, all 5,143 of them. I consider them my children. So I want every one of them to be successful.
Of course, of course. So, when you began your role as superintendent, you said that you wanted to establish an open and honest line of communication between the district and the community that you serve. You said that you wanted to make changes to elementary curriculum and you planned on training leadership to think in a forward and transformational way. I'd like to hear what ways do you feel like your district has made progress towards these goals?
We're making changes in tremendous ways. We hold professional development learning sessions with our principals. I am a professional development provider just by trade, and leaders need to be coached. So I spend a lot of time training our leaders to be great leaders and to be instructional leaders, to understand school improvement models so that they can change the mindset of teachers and just change their mindset, teaching them to be very reflective practitioners. So we work really hard on a weekly basis to engage in collaboration and engage in problem solving and critical thinking practices and work with solution circles so that we're able to come together as a group and think about how we're going to move our school district forward. Then not only do I work with our leadership in terms of principals, I work with my assistant principals as well to make sure that they are ready to take on the leadership role that hopefully they'll one day be able to walk in those shoes. We also guide our leaders so that they're able to go back into their schools and work with their teachers to guide their PLCs in terms of making sure that they know how to guide the data meetings and guide their curriculum development in their schools. And then get our children to take ownership and responsibility for learning. So we've done lots of transformational things in our buildings to get them to be great leaders because while the teacher impacts instruction, we know that the second indicator of transformation is a great leader. So leaders have to be able to take ownership to lead those instructional practices and organizational effectiveness for their buildings.
I love that you're referring to your district on every single level. You're talking about preparing principals, assistant principals, PLC leaders, teachers, because it really does take every single level in order to ensure that our South Carolina students, our Colleton students, are prepared for that workforce when they leave our high schools.
It does. It does. It takes everyone. Now we don't just stop there. We make sure that maintenance and operations, transportation, food and nutrition, everyone has their part in making sure that we are a ever ready and changing learning environment because everybody has a part in making sure that our school is a positive learning environment for our children to engage in every single day. So everybody has their role. Children enter the bus, they need to be greeted. They need to be well taken care of and transported safely. They need to go in the cafeteria and have a delicious meal. And then they need to sit down in a classroom that's clean. So everybody has their stake in making sure that everybody's learning.
And that's awesome because you're putting them in an environment to succeed, right? And that takes every single component within that school district. And I love how you guys are being so reflective and you're truly modeling what you expect students to do, right? You are expecting them to take these leadership roles. You're guiding the leaders within your district to help pass that down to the students, and then it's going to be reflected in the teachers to the students.
Most definitely. We want everyone to know that we can't do it alone. It's a collaborative effort, and everybody has a role in educating our children. Our parents need to understand that we're a 24/7 learning environment. So every day of the week, 7 days of the week, 24 hours a day. Even when they're sleeping, we're probably thinking about what we're going to teach them next.
That's right.
I know that's true. Dr. Cave, we've spoken a lot on this podcast about preparing South Carolina students for the workforce while they're still in high school.
Oh, yeah.
And We've even touched on the fact that Low Country Virtual Program has started adding career exploration courses all the way down in middle school. In your district, Colleton County High School allows students to take career focused classes during their schedule through Thunderbolt Career and Technology Center. I recently read that they added more course options to include things like cybersecurity, culinary arts, HVAC, welding, and even esports. Would you speak about the importance of workforce development in your county?
Yes, most definitely. I currently sit on the Economic Development Board, so this is a great question. In Colleton County School District, as well as in our Colleton County as a whole, we're working to establish a workforce that our children can be ready to take on the jobs when more businesses come in our county. So by expanding our offerings at our Thunderbolt Career and Technology Center, that allows us to get our children industry certified and workforce ready. That when various types of industries come to the district, that they are ready to go on in and take those jobs. Also, they are ready to be apprentice in those different kinds of positions if those companies are willing to partner with us. And more than likely they are, because they want the children that come out of career and technology education institutions. We've expanded our cybersecurity with the partnership of the Technical College of the Low Country. Our culinary arts program is a state award winning program. We're expanding our HVAC program with the Technical College of the Low Country. We have a wonderful welding program. We're expanding esports because we have so many children that love game design. So we're trying to tap into every interest. And when you are able to do that, you're not only creating jobs for our children, but you're creating a productive environment for our children to go out and be lifelong learners and then stay within the community and become productive citizens. So, what does that do? That builds community because our schools are only as strong as our communities make them. So that's what workforce development is about. It's the partnership between community and school to make our community stronger. And that's what we're all about, trying to get our children ready to take the jobs that are coming here so that they can be lifelong productive citizens and stay right here in Colleton County and give back.
And that partnership is so important. I mean, between the community and in our education field, it's just so important to have everyone working together. And then we spoke on previous episodes about creating a product, and it kind of sounds strange when you think about, where schools are creating a product, but we're creating a product to enter the workforce. And what better way to do so than having students who are still in school realize and explore what they want to do when they eventually leave and enter that workforce. I think that's just so important.
It is. You have to allow children to tap into their special interests. Um, COVID changed this world,
Hmm.
and we will never ever be the same again. So our children are coming out in a different place. They're coming in a different space, and they want to experience life in a different way. So our schools have to change. We have to make sure that we're tapping into their interests, and we have to create jobs and create learning where we can capture what they want to do and how they want to be able to live their lifelong productive life.
And I think that's amazing because just like you said, it becomes a full circle with everybody involved, all the stakeholders. It's not only the students that are learning to navigate the working world and building those skills they need out of their own interest, but then you have businesses that are getting a workforce with the desired skills that they want when they
Right.
are part of this, and then your community is going to thrive. So, I
Yeah,
mean, when you have all three of those components working together, it's amazing.
it is.
I'd like to take a minute to talk about the profile of a South Carolina graduate. And for our listeners, there are 3 categories for a profile of a South Carolina graduate. The first is world-class knowledge, and that's what you probably think about when you think about school. It's the math and the literature, the content itself. Then the second category is life and career characteristics, which includes integrity, work ethic, and interpersonal skills. And the last category is world class skills. And this is where you have things like problem solving skills, communication, and knowing how to learn. I'd love to hear some of the things going on in Colleton School District that educators are doing to ensure that students are excelling in all 3 of these categories.
So we're doing some innovative practices here. We are beginning to move our students toward more theme-based types of schools. So we've partnered with Arts Now and Arts Grow. So we're beginning to examine all of the art forms, from music to drama to dance, to artistic creative representation to visual and media arts, all of those things, so that our children can learn our content through the various art forms. We have that in three of our elementary schools. So that's just a wonderful way to engage our children so that they can meet some of that world class type of learning and knowledge through math and through literature and the various contents. Then not only are we stopping there, we're expanding our STEM education by having 2 of our schools that have STEM labs. So that science, technology, engineering, and math, we've tapped into that in 2 of our schools. So there they have drones, they have 3D printers, and our children go into those labs and they get to create and innovate various types of things with the help of a teacher there. So our children have various ways to be very, very creative in those environments and to learn content in a different way. Children learn by doing. So when we create the opportunity for them to be self-expressive, children are able to meet that profile of a South Carolina graduate. Then, for our smallest learners, we are working with mindfulness because, in order for a child to be able to be college and career ready, they have to learn how to center themselves. They have to learn how to control their impulsivity. So we have that for our smallest learners at our Early Learning Childhood Center. And then we're also providing coding for our littles, where our little children are learning how to code and making programming with Weebots and Bebots. So we're doing that. Then we've partnered with our college and universities for our University of South Carolina, Salkehatchie. We've established our first early college academy with 24 students there. And then we've partnered with Voorhees College, where they provide our Gear Up program, and we have about 300 students there. And then we have a robotics program in all of our elementary, middle, and high school. So we've done a phenomenal job with getting our children ready with that profile of a South Carolina graduate. And then, last but not least, we have partnered with Jobs for America's Graduates, where they have put 2 job specialist kind of positions in our schools so that our children are able to focus on all of those wonderful careers that are out there, and they learn those careers and they get to engage in virtual reality job simulations so that they are ready to take on those jobs and they know what they're about before they sign up for various types of courses in our middle and high school. So we're doing some fabulous things to get our children ready.
You truly are, because I mean, you're putting your money where your mouth is. You said that you want to be innovative, and I mean, between having the schools with learning content through art forms, STEM labs, coding, universities, everything is interest driven, and then you're providing them that opportunity with also adding in the fact that you have somebody explaining these jobs to them, things that they may not even know existed, they have an interest in, and now you can see the field that you can go into. So that's amazing.
Right, it is. And job simulation, children need to try it first, because if they can touch it and feel it a little bit, then they know eventually they really want to do it, and they're more than likely to stay in the job if they know what it's about at first.
One thing I'd like to point out that you said, when we talk to people about South Carolina graduate, normally their mind immediately goes to, okay, how are we going to prepare these 16, 17, and 18-year-old kids to graduate? But when I asked you this question, the first thing you started talking about was elementary and early childhood development, because you can't start at age 16 preparing a student for when they leave high school. You have to start at the very beginning. It's not a 1-year process. It's about a full, well-rounded education from the very beginning. So that just sounds so exciting for all of Colleton families that they're getting to experience that from the very first time they put their children in school.
Oh yes, we have, and I missed our pre-K. We've partnered with Waterford, so we've changed our pre-K education as well, so that we've provided learning activities. Our pre-K children all get a Dell Chromebook that they take home. It's loaded with all kinds of learning activities. So we've even started with pre-K. When you start with our smallest learners, you are more than likely to make sure that they're going to walk across that stage when they're in 12th grade, because you build an enduring understanding for education and they take responsibility for learning.
That is a powerful concept of them taking their responsibility, because that's all they've known. As soon as they enter school, that's what they know. I love that.
Most
And that's a
definitely.
shout out. I was reading about your Lego robotics program, and I see that you even have that Discover program for the pre-K through first grade students, which is amazing because
Yes,
you are weaving that into their everyday education
we
and
are.
preparing them for that.
We are, and they just enjoy it tremendously. We can't find enough people to guide the program and to teach in it. So we're excited about it here.
Very exciting. Dr. Cave, I'd love to hear more about your involvement in Low Country Education Consortium, because when you began your role as superintendent, there was already a relationship established between Colleton and LCEC. And now that you serve as the vice chair for the LCEC board, I'd love to hear you talk about the benefits of joining an education consortium like LCEC, and I'd love to hear what you envision for the future.
Okay, well, I really enjoy being on the Low Country Education Consortium on board, and the collaboration is just fabulous. There are about 8 or 9 of us that are a member of the consortium, and we meet on a monthly basis. It's very innovative. We get to share ideas, not only among the superintendents, but we get to engage with a lot of the various career and technology centers that are a part of the consortium. We get to hear innovative practices from the various assistant superintendents and curriculum development, curriculum facilitators. Then our students get the opportunity to engage with some high quality instruction there as well, because the Low Country Consortium has some wonderful teachers that meet the needs of our learners. You know, every child does not want to come in face to face, and every parent doesn't want their child to come in face to face. So, just for them to be able to provide high quality teaching and learning for our children who want to experience education in a different way is just a great opportunity for them. So, we have the opportunity to collaborate and share ideas. And with me being able to serve as vice chair has been a phenomenal experience for me, because we have roller like sessions where we're able to just really get into some intense work and talk about our problems that we have as various districts, but also we get to share our good ideas that we have, and we're able to share those across all of our districts, and so we're stronger together. And then our leader, Ms. Cindy Ambrose, she is just so innovative, and she does a wonderful job just making sure that she shares the wealth. She gives us all equal time so that we are able to we're able to draw on her strength, and she's able to help us in various ways. So it's been a win-win for all of us. And Colleton County being a rural district, we're stuck right in the middle of Beaufort, Berkeley, Charleston, Dorchester, so and Orangeburg. So we're out in the country, and just being able to collaborate with all of the larger districts has just been a win-win for my students.
It's our understanding that you worked previously in a region that had done extensive work in online learning. And we've seen Colleton has grown participation in online courses. So, what do you see as the future of online learning looking forward to the next decade or so?
Well, I've really been thinking about that because I have four grandchildren. One is 9, one's 4, one's 3, and one's 2 months. And I was just thinking about what school is going to look like for them. And I see it being schools without walls. For them to have the choice of whether they actually want to come into school or whether they want to have a virtual education. I know that in the future, especially for my grandchild that's 2 months old, she probably won't have to come into a classroom at all. All of her learning is going to be virtual. And that's how we have to begin to prepare our children for that kind of environment. So that's why we need to be able to engage them in all types of learning with iPads and various types of gaming systems. And even take it for them to be able to learn on their phones. If we can get our children to understand that social media is a great thing, I think that it can be it can change the way we educate our children because it's the way of the world. So we have to learn to engage that population that way because they think differently and they want to engage with us differently. So we have to be prepared to do that with them.
I completely agree. We have to be prepared. I feel like this has been a theme of our conversation is that we need to make sure that education is serving students where they are, and that means constantly changing. And so we need to be open and transformational in that way to serve them for the world that they're going to step into when they eventually do graduate.
Right, most definitely. I know that currently, right now, children sit in Colleton County, but they may take a course at Arizona State University, and we have to be able to expand our world so that in our offerings, so that regardless of where they are, they can take that course through some kind of virtual aspect of learning, and we can't be afraid to allow them to engage that way.
I completely agree. As we close our time together today, could you share with us what is on the horizon for Colleton County School District that parents and the community would find exciting?
We have two things. We're beginning to start a community advisory board, and that's going to go out pretty soon, where parents will be able to volunteer to be on the community advisory board and give us feedback and give us ideas for how we're going to be able to continue to transform our school district together because we can't do it alone. And then we're going to be moving to a modified school calendar for next year. Many people call it a year-round calendar, but we'll be going 45 days and then we'll be off for 2 weeks, 45 days off for three, and then 45 days off for two, and then our summers will be only about 5 weeks. So those are some new things that are on the horizon. We're making plans for all of those things now by having community meetings and engaging our community to get ready for those changes.
Those are certainly some very exciting changes coming up, and I'm sure your community is going to be so actively involved in that. And I hope that your parents and your students are excited about the new school calendar. It's really exciting.
Yes, it is. It's going to be a change, but we're going to make it work. The children will get the opportunity to come in. Nobody's going to be able to fall behind because during the intercession time, those 2 weeks that they're off, we'll have acceleration, remediation, and intervention so that everybody can kind of stay on pace. That's the purpose of going to a modified calendar. It allows everyone to get some SEL break, some social emotional learning time away, and it also allows our teachers to rest, relax, and rejuvenate as well as our families. And then it'll allow us to catch up on some learning tasks and assignments that children may have missed before we move into the next 9 weeks. So we're excited about the possibilities that it will bring to the school district.
And you guys are making those change. I mean, you have two big goals in front of you, and they're purposeful, they are focused, and they're innovative. Exactly what you were trying to do, and it sounds like you guys are on the right path.
We are. Thank you so very much for that, Matt.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cave, for joining us today and for sharing your insight. We are so fortunate that Colleton is a member of LCEC, and we love having Colleton families in the Low Country virtual program.
Thank you, Amy. I have enjoyed it. It's been my pleasure to share.
Listeners, if you would like to stay up to date with everything that Dr. Cave is doing for CCSD, please follow her on Twitter at Cave Vallerie, and check out Colleton's Twitter page as well at Colleton Schools. Thank you so much for listening. This podcast is written, hosted, edited, and produced by a team of educators from the Low Country Education Consortium. Amy,
Caitlin,
Matt,
and Meg
are proud to bring you
Please Raise Your Virtual Hand.